This video contains commentary. What is good, my little dudesicles? I hope you guys are staying warm out there. If it's snowing as much as it is here where you are, it is cold, my dudes. Welcome back to Storytime with your favorite Reddit fairy. My name is Lorna, and today we're getting into some r/ChoosingBeggars to kick off your Friday. Today, I've got the top 5 stories of the day, plus 2 bonus. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Another Bob story, The Fence, posted by user Fat Elvis. Bob and I share a privacy fence, and 2 years ago, we had a windstorm blow it down. Technically, there are no rules for who is responsible for repair, but since I had originally paid for the fence, it was mine and I did not mind repairing it. Well, until Bob got involved. I decided to replace the whole thing. It was old and dark brown and did not have a lot of life left in it anyways. But before I can get started, Bob is at my house wanting to know when we are going to fix his fence. I politely remind him the fence belongs to me and that I will fix it when I get around to it. This is not good enough for Bob because of Bob's dog. For some reason, he thinks I am responsible for his dog having a fence, and this should constitute an emergency on my part. We go back and forth about the urgency of the matter, and he finally agrees to help me rebuild my fence, but I still have to pay for all the materials. First, I demo the old fence, by myself, without any help from Bob. He conveniently disappears the first weekend we agreed to start the project. He literally shows up as I am stacking the last of the old fence by the street for curbside pickup. We get bulky item pickup in my area twice a year, and I got lucky with the timing and could leave it neatly stacked by the street. Bob sees the stack of wood, and I can see the gears in his head turning. Bob takes a picture and advertises it on Craigslist. Then, without asking me, he starts moving it all to his yard. This guy spends 2 weeks trying to sell a pile of old fence pickets and misses the bulky item pickup day. Then he finally gives up and decides to drag it all back to the curb in front of my house. We had words about this, and it was a bit heated at times. My position on the issue was, you wanted the wood, now it's your problem, not mine. We went back and forth for a while, and he begrudgingly stacked the wood right on the property line between our houses. The very next day, 2 Mexicans in a truck show up, decide they want the wood, and starts loading it up in their truck. Bob sees this and runs out front and starts yelling at them that it is his wood and it's not free. They just throw the few pieces they had in the truck on the ground and drove off. Bob can't stand that someone would get something for free, and no matter how much I try to convince him to just let it go, he won't. So I prod him a little and tell him that they will just come back when he's at work and take it anyway. My intent being for him to drag it all back into his yard. So, what does Bob do? He gets a saw and cuts all the pickets in half and leaves a giant pile of cut pickets in his yard at the curb. Rather than let them take it for free, he ruins it for them. That pile of wood sat there for weeks before the city cited him and made him clean it up. More on that later. Back to the fence. While replacing the posts, Bob starts questioning where the real property line is. I'm pretty good with where the old fence was, but he is convinced the line is too far on his property and wants to move it towards my house. I checked the survey, and the original fence line looked like it was built about 6 to 12 inches inside my property, and I suspect he wants to move it another foot over so it's easier for him to get his boat into his backyard. Or maybe he was just being Bob and wants something more. The easy way in my mind to settle this is to find the pins and pull a line between them. Bob gets a shit-eating grin on his face and says, "That is a great idea," and alarm bells go off in my head. After a little work, I find the pins, and not only was the fence on his property, it was a foot on his property. This is not right. It is not matching the survey that came when I bought the house, and I am sure I measured it right the first time. Out of self-defense, I hire a surveyor for $400 to come out and verify the property line. When the surveyor comes out, Bob blows a gasket and tries to refuse the guy access to his property and tries to harass the surveyor while he is doing the survey. None of this even fazed the surveyor. He acted like this happens all the time, and maybe even paid closer attention given how hostile Bob is acting. It turns out for good reason, too. Bob had moved the pins. The fence was not 1 foot on my side, it was 2 feet on my side. Bob had moved the pins. His shed was a solid 1 foot on my property, and given the new lines, it did not look like he would be able to get his boat in and out of his yard now. That new fence he was insisting I fix? He starts talking about how maybe we could just put it back where it was, and how he was willing to help, and how good fences make good neighbors. It was not enough that I pay for the repairs and do all the work. He wanted to screw me over the property line, too. It's never enough for him. Over the next few weeks, I notified him of the shed encroaching on my property and made him move it. Then, I built that fence right on the line and foolishly believe it was over. My insurance company sends me a letter about a claim on the damaged fence. He had filed a claim for the fence on his insurance. Then his insurance contacted mine to settle between the two. My fence, the fence I paid for and built, he is making a claim for. I told them the whole story and sent copies of the receipts. A couple weeks later, I come home from work and all the old fence pickets are in my yard. Bob tells me since it's my fence, then the trash from the old one is mine too. I guess the insurance company denied his claim. During this time, Bob got a citation for the trash in his yard. When code enforcement came back out to inspect again, they knocked on my door and I told them the whole story. The guy was really nice and just walked back over to talk to Bob. I don't know what he said, but Bob hauled the wood off to the dump the next day. We don't talk about the fence anymore, and now his ugly boat is in the side yard where he parks his boat right on the property line. I paid for the fence and survey, and while I picked up a little extra yard, it did not have to be that way, and all of this so Bob can have a fence for his dog. He is still pissed and will tell anyone who will listen how I stole a foot of his yard and how I made him move his fence. I paid for the fence both times, the survey, did all the work, and somehow stole part of his yard. Honestly, I would have been happy to put it back where it was if I did not have to look at his boat anymore. But he was being such a douche over it, I felt like letting him win would hurt more. Oh, it's like a little bit of petty revenge, too. I like this Fat Elvis guy. I've read some stories from, I'm pretty sure I've read one of the Bob stories before. It sounds familiar, but yeah, I wouldn't let him get away with that shit either. If I had the means to do so, for sure. There's a lot of people that get bullied by their neighbors that can't quite afford that. But, yeah, good for you for standing up to him. But it sounds like there's gonna be more stories about this guy, I have a feeling. Alright, my dudes, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to comment below. Let me know what you guys are doing for your weekend. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos just like this one. If we can get this video to 100 likes, I promise you guys will have amazing luck for the rest of the day. Alright, let's get into the next story. Found lost cell phone on a busy city street. Unreasonable requests for return follow. Posted by user Fried Tuna. This just happened about 15 minutes ago in Philadelphia. I work remotely from home as an insurance adjuster. While on my lunch break, I go outside to walk my dog. When I get to the corner, I find a cell phone lying on the ground. I like to think I'm a decent person, so I pick it up in hopes of returning it. I discover the phone is locked, but decide that I'll give it an hour to see if someone calls. And if not, I'll leave it with the doorman at the building I live in and explain the situation to him. About 10 minutes after finishing up my dog's walk and returning to my apartment, the moment I was waiting for occurred. The phone rang. I answered excited that I would be able to make someone's day after the panic that sets in from losing one's phone. A Hispanic woman answers and I try telling her to come pick it up from my address, but she has trouble understanding me. She then hands the phone to another woman who speaks English much better than I speak Spanish. She then asks if I could bring the phone to her and provides her address stating it's in the blank blank projects and that she'll be home all day. It was at this moment I had realized I had a choosing beggar on my hands. I let her know that I have no issue with returning the phone, but I was not going to deliver it and inconvenience myself further. She then recommended I mail it to her. I repeated that I refused to make this a hassle/chore for me and that mailing could cost me money as well. After that, I let her know I'd be leaving it with the doorman and that she is more than welcome to come grab it, and hung up. Now, I'm kinda pissed I didn't just leave it on the ground. I mean, It doesn't sound like that they were that pushy, to be honest, but I don't know. um, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if she only went a block away and that's where they found the phone, then that must mean that that person's not that far away either, so they can come and get that shit. Plus, yeah, I don't blame OP. I wouldn't want to drive out of my way, especially if I work at home and I'm only on like a little break. I'm not gonna go out of my way to go somewhere to bring it to somebody. But yeah, this one was kind of, who knows exactly. Maybe this woman's at work too. Yeah, you never know. This one wasn't that bad, I don't think. Let's just say that. I'm not saying that they're not a choosing beggar. I'm just saying this one was mild. Karen learns the hard way that hot coffee becomes cold when you add too much cream. Posted by user Postmodern Hippie Goth. Starring Karen as my psycho customer and me as the friendly barista. Act 1, Scene 1, Starbucks, Tuesday at 9 a.m., 2005. Karen, I'd like a tall dark roast, please. For those not in the know, that means a strong coffee. Me, sure thing, Karen, that's $2, please. Karen pays. I serve her the coffee. Karen goes to the cream station and puts cream in her coffee. Karen sips her coffee. Karen empties some of the drink into the trash to make room for more cream. Karen gets pissed off and returns to the cash register with a forced expression of anger on her face. Karen, my coffee is cold. Me, weird. I wonder if it has to do with all the cream you added. Karen, how dare you speak to me that way? If your coffee hadn't been so strong, I would never have to add so much cream in the first place. Me, my apologies, Karen. How about I give you a cup of the lighter roast instead? Karen, are you suggesting that I can't handle my coffee? Me, not at all. I just think this flavor will be more to your liking. I'd be happy to offer you a small free sample so you can taste it first. Karen, no, just pour me another cup of the dark roast, but leave more room for cream. Me, sure thing, Karen. Karen exchanges her creamy disaster for a fresh cup of dark coffee with extra room for cream. Karen visits the cream station for a second time and adds some cream. Karen sips her coffee. Karen empties her drink into the garbage to make room for more cream. Karen returns to the cash register again. Karen, my coffee is cold again. When was this coffee brewed? Me, truthfully, 10 minutes ago. Karen, no wonder it's so cold. It's old coffee. Anyone in the coffee industry knows that 10-minute fresh coffee is still pretty hot. Me, are you sure you wouldn't like to try the other coffee? You won't have to add so much cream. Karen, if I wanted the other coffee, I would have asked for it. Is it so hard to serve a coffee that doesn't get cold every time you add cream? Me, what if I served you a drink that's half coffee and half steamed milk? It sounds like that would be right up your alley. Karen, I don't drink milk. I only drink cream. Can I do steamed cream? Me, yes, you can. Normally, it costs this much, but I'd be happy to give you one on the house this time. Karen, wait, I'd normally have to pay this much for a coffee with cream? Me, steamed cream. It costs extra for the steamed milk and a little more extra for steamed cream. Karen, that's outrageous. No sane person would ever pay that. All I want is a cup of strong coffee that stays warm when I add cream to it. Try again. Me, a third coffee? Karen, yes. Me, are you sure this won't be a waste of coffee? Karen, I know how to drink coffee. If you hadn't screwed up the first two coffees, we wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have to tell you how to do your job. I pour Karen a third coffee. While Karen is failing again at achieving her desired taste, I serve another customer who asks me one or two questions about a drink that she's never heard of, but would like to try. I make this for the other customer, her desired experiment, and she is satisfied. She leaves happily. Karen slams her third failed coffee on the counter, miraculously avoiding a giant mess to clean. Karen, is this how long you take to serve all your customers? Me, what? Karen, You spent 10 minutes making that girl's drink, but you can't even spend 1 second to get my drink right. Actually, I spent less than 2 minutes with that other customer. Okay, let's wrap it up now. Karen tries the normally expensive half cream, half coffee drink. Too creamy, she yells so that other customers are eavesdropping now. I suggest one again, using milk instead of cream. Karen is furious and asks instead for a free expensive brownie to make up for the blood sugar I've caused her to expend. Starbucks during 2005 could care less if it takes 10 tries to find the right drink, within reason. But free food is not gonna happen. My manager isn't even allowed to give away free food. I explain this to Karen and offer her a free drink voucher that we offer in case of customer emergencies. Karen presses for the free brownie, doesn't get it, and takes the free drink voucher, glaring at it like it's got germs on it. Karen: it's a miracle you stay in business when you treat your customers like shit all the time. Karen leaves. Karen paid $2 for what turned out to be 3 wasted coffees, a wasted Brev Misto, the expensive one, and a wasted carton of cream. She walked away with a free drink coupon and was angry about it. Epilogue. The next day, Karen didn't recognize me. I said hi, but she didn't have a clue who I was. I'm like 98% sure she wasn't acting. She asked for a tall, light roast coffee. She added a splash of cream, and she said it tasted awesome. It became her regular drink. Oh, why couldn't you just ban her for life after that? Oh, what a disgusting person. Everything OP said makes sense. It makes sense. If dark roast is too, if you need that much cream to counterbalance the dark roast, then maybe you shouldn't be drinking dark roast in the first place, or take the suggestion with the milk. Fuck off, Karen. You're so entitled. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, my dudes. I mean, at least she learned, but was it too late? Did she get that Karen status for life, do you think? What do you think? Let me know. Photoshoot fun. Personal experience with a choosing beggar. Posted by user Notorious Freak. Story time! Never done an Instagram influencer that I know, or at least official at the time, and one wanted a photo shoot. Took pics for about an hour, edited everything they wanted, and presented the final prints. They grabbed them and said thanks and tried leaving. I held on to the pics and asked what they are doing. Apparently, it was a privilege for me to take photos of them and I should cherish the publicity I'll get soon, to which I wasn't having it. I refuse to let them have the prints unless they pay up, otherwise I'm going to sell them myself. They freaked out and said I can't sell them because they didn't give me permission and it's creepy and they are the owner of the pics. Furthermore, they wanted me to remove my watermark as it's distracting. I informed them that they signed an agreement paper that said that they would pay for the services, then the prints that they wish to keep. All prints and photos are still my property for portfolio use. Any photos not purchased are subject to monetization. Any customer can checkmark a box stating that all or any photos, whether purchased or not, can't be used for monetization. I explained there is no fine print, there is no trickery, it's literally 2 paragraphs explaining everything. All you have to do is checkmark a single box and sign the agreement, which they only signed and was done before the photo shoot even had an appointment date. Finally, I will not remove my watermark on my photos that I took with my camera for my business that shows my trademark. They threatened a lawsuit for being a pedo and illegally selling pics of them without their permission. I just smiled and said for them to do as they please. All I need to do is present the agreement paper they signed. They grabbed the agreement paper and tore it up and started laughing. I continued to smile. Confused look on their face at this point, I calmly informed them, this is why I have an agreement signing date and the photo shoot on a future date. It gives me time to prepare the studio for setup, make copies of the agreement for personal documentation, and send a copy to my lawyer and manager and make up any filters to use on the photos if needed. What you tore up was your copy, but don't worry as I can print you another copy. Lastly, you can claim anything you wish. The security cameras in the building and my camera being hooked up directly to my computer will easily show the entire photo shoot was headshots of a 28-year-old, and the camera was on a tripod that was pre-set up hours before the shoot. So, it was impossible for any inappropriate pictures to have been taken without being caught. And honestly, I'm just not stupid, as this is a real threat to any photographer. Completely puzzled and filled with anger, they handed me their debit card and paid for all the pictures they wanted. Being a nice person, I asked if they wished to sign a written request for removal of monetization rights of their photos. They agreed and signed, made copies in front of them with a big old grin, handed them back their copy and said, "Have a great day." They stormed out angrily, never seen them again, thankfully. Oh, these fucking influencers, my dudes. I don't think anybody would consider me an influencer, but if I ever am considered one, somebody punch me in the face if I turn into this. Please. Just walk up to me and just right in the nose, you know? That'll be I mean, I might be like, what the fuck, and I might try to attack you after, but just be like, no, Reddit Fairy, you told me to do it. Is there lactose in it? Posted by user in love with space. So, I have posted this on another subreddit, and some people suggested what I have encountered belongs here. So, here it goes. I have started to enjoy baking. What I am making is nothing out of the ordinary. Simple muffins, brownies, or sometimes a few cookies as I bake what I like. My family, however, does not really enjoy baked goods, and since I don't want to waste ingredients, I take what is left over to my class with me. I give my baked sweets out for free and always follow the same system. My friends get one, then it is first come, first serve. Never had a problem with it, until I encountered ChoosingBeggar. That day, I had some brownies left over. When they turned around and looked at my brownies, then already took one in their hand. Not asking is uncommon, but it was okay. And then asked me if it had lactose in it. I told her that I didn't add milk, so I didn't think so. They mustered the brownie and then looked at me again, asking me if the cocoa powder I had used had lactose in it, since that was not uncommon, according to them. I honestly wasn't sure about that and told them honestly, even though I was slightly embarrassed. No one in my family has lactose intolerance, so I never checked that exactly. ChoosingBeggars scrunched their nose, let the brownie drop back on the plate, and turned around without speaking another word. Later on, I heard them mutter about me being an asshole because I got their hopes up and then let her down, because they are lactose intolerant and didn't want to take the risk. They were mad that they couldn't have a brownie for free and then went around calling me an asshole. Most of their friends even agreed. Some said it was because I left brownies in the opens when I knew some couldn't have any. Others said it was because I destroyed ChoosingBeggars' hopes. This has been a week back, and they are still mad at me, gossiping behind my back because of a brownie. Sorry if this doesn't belong here. Hope it was still a good read. You know what you should do, OP? No, don't take this. Don't take this advice. But you know what I was thinking is make another batch. Find out if it has lactose in it. If it does, remove it. Replace it with one of those liquid motherfucking drinks that you can get that, loosens you up. If you know what I'm saying. Pour one of those in there so everything sticks together. I don't really know how to bake. I mean, I can follow instructions and I don't burn things when I do that. But off the top of my head, I have no fucking clue how to make brownies. So don't judge me. But you should judge me because I'm basically telling you to give someone the shits. But I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you to do that, my dudes. Do not listen to me. This is just thoughts that are going on in my head. Do not follow my advice. That is not my advice. That is just a thought. So I feel like I need to reiterate that. I'm not telling anybody to give someone the shits in this way. It just is really funny to me to think about that happening. Oh my god, I'm gonna get myself into trouble. Okay, we got 2 more stories, and the next one is called I Was Called a Choosing Beggar When She Was Being Unprofessional. Posted by user Crystal_Clearit808. I got in contact with an old friend, Becca, to paint me a picture on a canvas for Valentine's Day gift. From the beginning, I said I would purchase any materials needed and pay her for her art fairly, because I know art is time and talent, both of which I have none of. She said she was in, and I was excited. Over the past week, she had been ignoring my messages, to the point of my having to message her sister to see if she was still down to do it or not. I was complaining to a friend of mine, who is also a very talented artist, and she told me she would do it. So I messaged Becca, after being ignored for a week, and told her that I didn't like how she wasn't responding to me and I was going to find someone else to paint it. She then started telling me everything she was planning on doing on it, the price of everything, and her estimate for the picture. I told her not to worry about it. She said, "Wait, what?" I said, "You weren't responding and I'm on a time crunch. I found someone else to paint it." She went on Instagram Live and started talking hella shit. She started saying how this inconsiderate ChoosingBeggars hired her for art and then lowballed her and was trying to get shit for free. She called me a choosing beggar. People blow my minds. I'd understand if she was busy and wouldn't be able to have it done by Valentine's Day. I told her that at most I wanted it a week after because I understand it takes time. But to lie on me and say I wasn't trying to pay her? To be called a choosy beggar when she was unprofessional? Ridiculous. I agree, OP. She's fucking ridiculous. She is redonkulous, and she don't need to be doing all that shit right there. This is I'm gonna guess that they're probably younger, much younger than me. Because I wouldn't be blasting shit like that on Facebook. I mean, I'll blast businesses. If they deserve it, I'll blast them. But yeah, don't take it out on people, especially just because you're the one who was causing them to be upset in the, not OP, but you know, this girl Becca is the one causing the disrupt in the first place, you know? Like, just answer her, stop ignoring her. Maybe you wouldn't be in this situation. I hope OP like responded on that Instagram post and basically called her out on it, because I would. I would, my dudes. I think you know that. All right, let's get into the last story of the day. And then, my dudes, there's going to be some bloopers. Yeah, there's going to be some bloopers. So stick around for that. This one is titled, "Choosing Beggar Refuses a Free Subway Ride." Posted by user trying to be helpful here. In my city, subway rides are $2.75 each. Or you can buy an unlimited card and get one free ride every 15 minutes. So, broke folks sometimes stand at the entrance/exit asking people exiting to swipe them in. I always do, because it costs me nothing and it takes like 2 seconds. They've always been appreciative and thrown a thank you or God bless my way. Until today. I was exiting the subway after work and a dude was at the entrance/exit asking people for $1 for a Metro card. I was like, "Hey brother, I'll just swipe you in." He laughed in my face and said, "What about the ride back? I need $1." Like, I guess he wasn't a choosing beggar so much as a lying beggar trying to score cash, because one, if he really just needed $1 more for the round trip, he'd have the return trip covered after I swiped him in. Or two, if he was $1 short on his first trip, then with my swipe, he'd only have to beg $1 for the ride home instead of $1 more for the first ride, plus $2.75 for his ride home. But mostly three, don't laugh at me like I'm the asshole in this situation. You're right. You are definitely not the asshole, OP. Yeah, he was probably just trying to get some money. I don't think he was actually trying to get anywhere. There's some videos of this guy like begging for money outside of a bus station. He's like, "I need to get home." And this guy calls him on it because he finds him there like a few days later or a week later or something like that, and says, "Man, I just gave you like my last like few bills to get home. Why are you back here now? That was a while ago and you're still here. You should have enough money to get home. Why are you scamming people out of their money?" Because that's what the guy was doing. He wasn't trying to get nowhere. Nice grammar, Lorna. He wasn't trying to get nowhere. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, my dudes. Thanks for sticking it out for this entire video. If you did, if you liked it, please smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos just like this one, because I know you don't want to miss one. And as always, the links to these stories will be in the description, so head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love with some upvotes. You know they deserve it, my dudes. And as always, don't forget to submit your stories and all that fun stuff. There's going to be a subscriber submitted stories Sunday episode this weekend, my dudes, so stay tuned. I'll probably have that maybe late Sunday night. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of my YouTube comments and handpick, little tiny stories, little funny, things you guys have said, things like that. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be awesome. You guys have a fan-fucking-tabulous day and weekend, and I will see you on Sunday. Enjoy these bloopers and fuck my life. The fuck? Oh, shit. Or maybe he just The guy was really nice and just walked back over to talk to kebab. I work remotely from home as an assurance adjuster. Normally, it costs this many. It costs this many. Fuck off, Lorna. Story time. You know I can't just leave it at story time. Okay, we gotta do this good. They mustered the brownie. What? They mustard the brownie? I don't know what that means. I'm gonna leave it in though, because I don't. It's probably another word that I don't know what the fuck it means. God damn it. Posted to. I can't fucking. Posted to user. No. Posted by. Fuck.